I've seen so many right now in the fitness world, right? Like, change your fitness schedule to go with your hormonal schedule, your cycle, right? Like, imagine if we had that for our career. Like, change your mindset of your career according to your hormonal cycle.
Oh, yeah. That's when I know my period's coming, because it's extra like, what are you doing? Everyone is doing better. It's like at full force in my brain.
Yeah.
It's like,
and then what happens on the other side when you come out of it and you're just like,
yeah,
wow,
like, I could do this.
I'm a creative genius. Seen is not just a podcast. It is a movement dedicated to amplifying the voices, experiences, and stories of women shaping the film and photography industries. We're going to dive deep into the soul work that these women undertake every day to pursue their dreams, passions, and to breathe life into their creativity. And all while fostering and nurturing a thriving community among women in our field. I'm Nalani Hernandez Melo, a creative photographer, director, and curator based in Los Angeles, and I am deeply honored to share this space with you as your host and creator of Seen, where women behind the lens take center stage. I would love to invite our guest, Michelle Terris, today. Hi.
Hi. So happy to be here.
So happy to see you. It's been a minute since we've had a chance to catch up. We've been talking about having a coffee catch-up. This is our coffee catch-up. Welcome. Thank you so much for saying yes and coming. And it has been a beautiful full circle moment. I actually remember the first time I interviewed for a job with you years ago.
Yeah.
And that was our first coffee meetup.
Yep.
So I am very, very honored to have you come here today.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. This is very exciting.
To begin, I'm going to read your bio introduction we crafted for you. I'm delighted to introduce Michelle Terris, a Los Angeles-based photographer and director whose beautiful work blends storytelling with a deep commitment to equality, inclusivity, and sustainability. Michelle's creative journey is fueled by a love of nostalgia, vibrant colors, and the power of movement to evoke emotion in her imagery. With an impressive client list that includes MTV, Warby Parker, The Books, Michelle's work resonates with mission-driven brands looking to authentically connect with their audiences. Her photography has been featured in publications like Harper's Bazaar, Arabia, Vogue Italia, Teen Vogue, showcasing her ability to craft compelling visual narratives. I'm super excited to have Michelle here today to share and explore her inspirations and the values that drive her unique perspective. I also wanted to invite you because one thing I've always valued about being on set is the joy and vibrancy that you bring to a set. I love very much nostalgia that you brought up, but seeing you work and how you evoke, you bring a little bit of our memories, our past into your sets. I think the pieces the shoots I've been able to work with you on have had like a little retro vibe to them. And they're very creative. And so I always love the energy that you bring, and you create a magical space, not just for the talent, but for all of us on set with you. So thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. That's so nice.
Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thanks.
So to begin, Michelle, how's your mind, body, and spirit today?
It's good. I pretty much just woke up, exercised, and then got ready to come here. I was, a little nervous, but it's good.
Don't be.
I know. Once we get going, it'll be like,
it's all going to pour out. We're going to be like,
yeah,
vulnerability.
Yeah.
I want to start with the question. It's kind of a little exercise, visualization.
Okay.
Michelle, can you paint the moment that you fell in love with creating imagery? Can you take me there? Like, where am I? What's around me?
Yeah. I have been with photography for a long time. But there's always like one moment where I always go back to when I'm kind of like, what am I doing? Am I sure I want to do this? And it was like, okay, now it's been like 10 years ago. And I was living in Oakland, and I had decided that I am going to try to do more artistic portraits of people, mainly of women. And so I reached out to this girl on Model Mayhem, which is the old website.
Still exists.
Still exists, yeah. And I found this girl, and she, I messaged her, and she's like, yeah, like, I'm down to, like, come create with you. And I was so nervous. Basically, I made this, like, flower crown.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to work around this. And I brought her into my room, into this corner, like, that got this really good window light, and set her up, put this flower crown on, and then just, like, started taking pictures. And I just had this, like, my inner child or whatever it was at the time, like, was just so excited, like, seeing on the back of my camera, like, what I was capturing and how the light was making it look. And like the flower crown had the marigolds.
Oh,
this is bright orange. And just, like, seeing the colors, I was just like, oh my God, this is everything I've ever wanted. It was, like, so exciting for me. And so that was, like, I was hooked after that. It was like a drug. I just, like, always wanted to be taking pictures and then editing pictures.
Yeah, I recognize, I was just speaking with Rebecca, and for some people, the editing process can be a little bit like, we're going to, some people like more than other. Like, some people like shooting, some people like editing.
Yeah.
But one thing I hear with Rebecca and you, like, you guys are the editing process is such an extension, full extension of yourself.
Yeah.
And you really dive into it.
Mm-hmm.
When you described, like, you came to life in that moment when you were shooting and it was everything you ever wanted, what were those things that you wanted, like, in that moment?
I don't even think I knew. I just, like, the colors, like, I didn't realize at the time, but I'm super, now I see it, in my work, and, like, it's what I go after, but just, like, capturing color, and just, like, a softness. There was so much light coming through the window that it made it, like, kind of hazy too. And I was like, oh my God, this is, like, similar to stuff that I'm seeing on Pinterest that I really love. And I'm like, I'm making it. It's happening.
I'm making the pins. I'm making the pins.
Yeah. And just feeling like, I don't know, I always struggled with, like, calling myself an artist.
Okay.
And so maybe in that moment it felt like, oh, I'm, like, creating art actually. And I definitely didn't think it at the time, but, like, I'm an artist. Like, this is how my voice is getting heard or something like that.
So you were, I want to lean into that a little bit. Like, because this is seen, we created this platform for us to feel seen and heard. And it sounds like your inner self right then was saying, like, I feel like I'm saying something. And I think I've learned that self-worth, or even just for us to move forward in space and put ourselves in the spotlight, or just to take up space, it begins by us allowing ourselves to hear our own voice. And is that something you say was happening in that moment?
I think so. Yeah. It was just, like, I don't know, very magical, I guess. I'm going to
I love that
word a lot. I've always, like, loved old stuff. Like, before I was kind of doing photography, it was really into, like, vintage clothing, but really, like, pristine kind of things. I don't know, I was just so obsessed with that. I've always been obsessed with old photographs. I have like a bunch of those that I have in a box, I just love looking at, like, the way people did their hair or the way that they dressed. And so I don't really even know where I was going with that, but like, just, like, I guess like that creativity that I'd see in other things that I saw, I was kind of making now, in a sense. Like,
did you go to photography school? Did you study? Or?
Yeah, okay. I went to San Jose State, and I started in fine art photography, and then switched over into photojournalism and did that till I finished college. Till I finished school.
Amazing. What are other ways that you tap into your creativity or creative? It sounds like you collect the the vintage clothes, or I know you love Harry Potter.
I
You love
do.
magic.
Yes, I do. Other way, reading. Reading
Yeah.
is huge. I love, like, when I was a kid, like many kids of my age generation, was like sitting in a corner of my room, like binging reading Harry Potter. And so that was pretty formative for me. And now I love reading like fantasy, sci-fi.
Yeah.
I also love reading nonfiction stuff too. Um, and music. Music is another big inspiration.
Mm.
TV, movies,
Yeah.
kind of stuff. Yeah.
Amazing.
Old things.
Old things.
Old things.
I was always curious about what your experience as a woman in our industry has been. What are some positives, and then maybe some negatives, or what I like to reference to like shadow times in recent years that you want to share with us?
I think some of the positives are that I get to meet a lot of great women.
Yeah.
That I guess, have a different way of seeing women that I photograph.
Yeah. Tell me a little bit about that.
Um, I really try to think about the person that I have in front of my camera. Like, I want to make sure that I'm really being inclusive, that I'm thinking like, okay, I haven't really had this kind of person represented in my lens yet.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that I look for that person and get them there, and then make them feel beautiful. I try to say like a lot of positive things. I know it's hard being a woman,
Yeah.
and you're often shown a lot of images of how you should be. I like really try to be different body types too. I want to do different ages too. That's not something that I've tapped into a lot yet, but I want to keep showing women like being beautiful at all different times in their life. And I think it allows me to just connect, even like with people on set too. Maybe not necessarily like the model in front of the camera, but like a lot of the times I'm working with women behind the scenes. I try to like be conscious about that too, and that I'm have women doing like grip work or digiteching or things like that, or assisting, because I know that like that's not common.
Yeah.
So I try to keep that in mind. Sometimes I feel like that pushes me too to like want to keep going and do bigger shoots or do bigger projects, so that I can bring on these like teams of women, and show
So
that we're
thinking beyond yourself, like how you can share the impact or the creative possibilities with others.
Yeah.
You know, one thing I love about your work, that I've noticed, you know, when we were working on the exhibition and you shared your fig series, there, and now when I look back at the work I've seen, you know, just for a little bit of like a backstory, I was helping you with your newsletters back in the day, and so I was seeing a lot your work coming through and curating a newsletter and making it look beautiful. But seeing it's your work, you know, I was helping putting it together.
You're making great PDFs and stuff too.
Yeah, great PDF.
Loved
it's a skill.
Yeah.
It's a key part about the newsletter. But sensuality is something that I recognized in your work. No matter if it was a woman or a male model, there was a beautiful sensuality in your work that would be evoked. And so when we did the exhibition and you presented the fig, it was one of the few times that I saw. I think we've all seen a woman eating something and it being objectified or, you know, being sexualized. And the way you presented that series, and there's that shot, the fig in the mouth, and it looks so juicy and so sexy, but it's so beautiful. In no moment did it feel like objectification. Maybe because you are a female photographer, but I wanted to share that with you and ask if sensuality is a theme or even like an aesthetic theme that you're looking for in your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
I think so. I also really like to tap into that too.
Yeah.
I think being sexy is beautiful too. I think that if you want to be sexy, be sexy. If you don't want to express yourself that way, don't. But yeah, I love also like a softness
Yeah.
too, I think. And I like
Yeah.
try to express that through the colors that I use too, or the way that I edit them and maybe like tone the colors down or
Yeah,
something.
I definitely see that softness across. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I can't even take full credit for that shot. It was the model that I was working with. Like she pulled the fig down from the tree, she bit into it, and then like put it in her mouth that way. And I was just like, oh my God, snap, snap, snap.
Snap, 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 snap.
Yes, good.
That's
It's actually
trigger happy.
like, yeah. And then you're like, why did I take so many photos?
But that's how you know it was a good shot. You're like, yes.
Yeah.
Let's go crazy.
And then I cropped it just so like
super tight.
Yeah, because the whole photo is of her face.
Yeah.
But I was like, no, this is the moment. Yeah.
And exploring like when that magic reveals itself to you. You know, and it sounds like that's part of who you're a collector of moments and things, and in your editing process. Is that something you've thought about? Like you're looking for something, a moment, or
Yeah. I feel like I'm always going to, my go-to is like, how do I make this look like film?
Yeah. I was gonna say,
how can I make this look as close to film as possible? And I always like when somebody's like, "Oh, you're not shooting film? I thought you were," and I'm always like, "Yes."
And you're starting to shoot medium format now, right?
Now, yeah,
which is exciting.
Yeah, I know. I'm spending all my money on film now. I love it so much.
Yeah.
And I used to shoot film in school. I had like access to a darkroom and everything, but mostly black and white.
Okay.
And so now it's a cool opportunity that I get to shoot color. But yeah, I just like go in, I kind of like fiddle around with some presets, and then my thing is like dropping the contrast down.
Yeah.
And then playing with the colors and like trying to figure out like, okay, this is looking like film kind of.
I agree. I see your work and it all feels like, I mean, you hit that nostalgia, like give us that analog vibe.
Yeah.
You nailed it. And that speaks to your skill set too. And also your, you know, Rebecca and I, we were talking about our experience when we're putting up a bid or we're presenting our work. Like there's a lot of development that goes into our craft, and you know, and how has it been navigating the shift in our industry? Projects are going to content creators versus like a photographer or a director.
Yeah.
Or when they want everything in one person, when before you had budgets where you could bring a photographer and a director, and or the photographer could bring both, you know, have a whole team. And now it's like, no, we need somebody to do it all from the beginning.
Yeah, I've experienced that. I've definitely come across like, oh, you do video? Well, can you do video and photo and we still pay you the same rate?
Yeah.
And can you edit the video too? All for the same rate. Like, okay, no. That, and also licensing has been a big thing that comes up. I know it's really tough. I know a lot of people, like friends that I talk to, like some people just include it all in their day rate. And so it doesn't even come up as a point of conversation.
Yeah.
And other people are still kind of itemizing it. And I don't know what
I don't even know if our industry knows what's the right model. I remember you sharing on your stories in social about the fact that our industry doesn't have a union. Like we don't have a union. I can't remember if there's an organization trying to put a union together or basically streamline at least some expectations and like respect for ourselves.
Yeah.
But tell me what really fuels that for you.
Yeah. So there's like a freelancers union.
Yes.
And they work with freelancers. So if you haven't gotten paid or you need a lawyer or something like that, they will help you. But I don't know. It's not like strictly for photographers.
Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I hear things like it could never work for us because of licensing, because we all charge different rates.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the legalities of things,
Yeah.
but it would be nice to have some kind of protections, because I do feel like, and sometimes because we're women too, it's easier to offer us a lower rate.
Yeah.
And to be like taken advantage of. And a lot of the times, because the industry is changing so much, we're just kind of desperate for anything.
For work.
Yeah. And we're like, well, fuck it, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Even though I know it's hurting myself, the industry at large, like
Yeah.
I need to pay rent. And I think
Yes.
that's the position a lot of us are in. It also like pits us against each other because, you're mad at somebody for not charging for licensing.
Yeah.
They should be charging for licensing because we have to stick together. This is like how we can, continue to do this career. But then on the other hand, like shit's expensive and like
we're all trying to survive.
Yeah. And like a lot of these big companies too know that they have this recognition behind them.
Yeah. And they use that as a card.
Yep.
They use that as a card. I definitely.
And so you're like, well, I know it'll look good if I shoot for Vogue or whatever. And if they pay me like $200 and I have to back everything, like,
yes,
fine. Okay.
Yeah. Let's break some of those assumptions. Like you mentioned one, editorial. Editorial are, by definition, editorials are shoots or content that you see in magazines, publication, but they don't pay the best.
No.
They don't pay the best, but they play the carrot that they dangle is, but millions or thousands will see, which has some validity to it. But most of the people creating that content are putting money out of their own pocket, the creatives, the photographers, or the director, videographers. Like most of the time we're working with our teams that we have a respect and like working relationship to create something beautiful because we know many people will see it. But I feel like the average person that's looking at that magazine thinks it's $1 million shoot. We made so much money off of it when really it's
when
not.
Maybe there was like $500 for everyone.
Literally $500.
Like that's an actual budget.
Yes. That's an assignment, right? We'll not say for who, but that is their day rate.
Some places popped into mind.
Yeah, that is their day rate. And again, for clarification, day rate is just flat rate for the whole day.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all you're getting.
And if you break it down, like the time you spend driving over there, the pre-production stuff you do, the shoot, getting the team together, the editing you're doing afterwards, any like talking about edits, like what are you making, like less than minimum wage?
Way less.
Like it'd be nice to have a union.
How many times do we rethink our career or question our career choice? And
like every day, several times a day.
Well, let's talk about being a woman too. Just like I've seen so many right now in the fitness world, right? Like change your fitness schedule to go with your hormonal schedule, your cycle, right? Like imagine if we had that for our careers. Like change your mindset of your career according to your hormonal cycle.
Oh yeah. That's when I know my period's coming, because it's extra like, what are you doing? Everyone is doing better. It's like at full force in my brain. It's like,
and then what happens on the other side when you come out of it and you're just like, wow,
I can do this.
I'm a creative genius. This is why I do. Yeah. And understanding that the world isn't designed for that.
Yeah.
There was another content creator or influencer or coach, or I don't know what she is. She just popped up on my algorithm, and she was talking about, why does your phone feel so big in your hand? And it's like, because that was designed for a man. Why the work schedule? I forgot what she was talking about.
Like a 9 to 5.
9 to 5, and how that was designed for the male
men have like
cycle.
24-hour clocks.
Yes, and they only have an afternoon slump, but we have the actual 28-day and then a 24-hour cycle.
Yeah.
It's just like understanding that we bring life, but life wasn't designed for us.
I know, it blows my mind. I feel like when I realized that, I was like, wait, like,
How?
hello, creator of life, like, you should be worshiping me right now instead of like paying me less.
What? Can you tell me an experience that you've really tapped into, like just how amazing you are as a woman, but being an artist or on set, and you're just like, fuck yeah, I'm a woman.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know if this is amazing, but I do hear stories about, like, from models and women, like, telling me, like, oh, it's so nice working with the female photographer. I've had bad experiences working with men, and I will never shoot with men again. Even I've had men tell me that too, like young men tell me like that they've dealt with like creepy guys. And so yeah, so it's not amazing, but I do feel like this responsibility to like, or like a kinship maybe, or like to be like, you know, this is a totally safe space.
Absolutely.
We are here to have a good time. We're creating, feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Nothing creepy or weird is going to happen. I assure you.
Yeah.
I'm coming with a team. Like, you're not alone here. If you want to bring somebody, great.
Yeah.
Do it. Like,
I love that you name that. It's our responsibility as the creator, as the photographer or director, like to be mindful of that responsibility we have. It's a very, I mean, when I describe when I'm shooting, to me, it's a trust practice. Like, you know, or even the term shooting, you know, like shooting is such a aggressive, violent word, you know.
Yeah. Sometimes in like emails, I'm like, I'm going to put that to like a different word. Like,
be like, I'll be shooting you. But also even just the mechanism, like the machinery of it, you know, we're holding this thing in front of you, and for you to acknowledge and be mindful that it is our responsibility to cultivate safe space. And some of the most, like, we'll talk about fashion because I know you love fashion photography. Some of the iconic fashion photographers, or like things you see with celebrities, it's like always very in your face, and like it very intimate, very close. But then you hear the horror stories of just like, that wasn't a safe set. That was if you see a woman super being like, sometimes, and this is like older work, but where you see a supermodel super, like, you think she's strong, she's owning her sexuality, but then you hear the story about like how she was just trying to survive that shoot.
Yeah.
You know? So it's beautiful to hear that you set that intentionality, and not just for women, but for anybody.
Yeah.
In front of.
I was shocked when I heard that. I guess I just expected like, oh, men have it easy.
Yeah.
No.
And that's,
they
and
have
that's
to deal
also,
with creeps too.
that's also accountability of just like of as much as we advocate for like creating safe space for women, I think for me has also been acknowledging and owning that we are still learning to provide those spaces for men also to share that they've been a boundary has been crossed. Or I think the other thing, I was just talking to this with my ex-husband about, he was raised to be very tough and very thick-skinned and like just show up always very, very, very aggressive, like even just a persona, right? And we talk about, we're raising a daughter, so just like, let's create a soft, like show her your soft side.
Yeah.
And his feedback was like, it's interesting because anytime I try to be soft, I've been received like, no, that's not the right way. So also acknowledging that even though when they're trying to do something different, we still don't know how to hold them in their softness or in their feminine. But the same thing we're asking for, you know, figure out how to give that in return.
Yeah.
So I'm sure when that model shared that, it's like, oh,
yeah,
didn't, you know, how do you navigate that as a male?
Yeah. That's why I think like, I need all political.
Yeah.
But it's not political. But I think like trans people are so special.
Yeah.
Because they have both, and they can like teach us how to express both.
Yeah. But I'll take it a step further. Like a part of my practice in spirituality is like we all have masculine and feminine energy, and I think we've just been conditioned. The idea of just boys and girls. And a whole civilization was structured around that. Blue, pink. Women have to look this way, men have to look that way, and bringing it back to our career or industry, it's just like assists, right? Basically assists, like mostly it's men because you need strength and absolutely yes, there's certain setups that I know I cannot do without that extra strength, but like honoring that we all have this duality to us and these energies, and that we can ebb and flow between one or the other, and allowing ourselves to express that.
Yeah.
But I do agree with you, like the trans community, really leaning into, there's multiple facets of us existing. And how can we honor and respectfully allow all of it to exist? Right?
Yeah. Because like you were just saying, like it hurts if men can't express themselves. It hurts them. It hurts women. It just hurts. Like nobody wins. Yeah. So yeah.
What have you learned from being in the director role of, at least for me, there weren't many role models or people to look up to that were doing, there were directors as females. How does that, when you were starting out, what did that role look like? Or how did that energy have to be?
Yeah. I mean, all my like my favorite photographer was like Richard Avedon and Annie Leibovitz. Like they were just like the two that were like most in pop culture that I saw all the time. Still huge Richard Avedon fan. And I love Annie Leibovitz's work. But now I find that like people who inspire me, maybe we're around the same age, maybe they're a little older than me, maybe they're younger than me.
Yeah.
I can't, or they're not involved in photography at all. They do like painting or something else, or fashion designer or something like that. So yeah, I never had like I want to be like this female photographer when I grew up or whatever. Like, yeah, it was always men, I guess. Or I just like, I like that photo. I don't know who took it, but I like it.
So it's less about the specific person. It was more of just, again, going back to you collecting and like the photos and the vintage. It's almost just like an essence or a feeling of things.
Yeah. I just like collected, like especially starting on, I just like collecting these images.
Yeah.
And
so life's one big mood board.
Yeah.
And recreating your own mood board.
Yeah.
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 Why do you love photography?
Good question. I don't know. It started off as something like I knew I liked art, and I felt like I didn't know how to draw. So I like kind of went down this path as like another way to be creative. But now I like it. One, it allows me to be creative. And like the thoughts that I have in my head and the visions and like stories that I want to tell, I can capture it and express it. Yeah. And also it like brings me to all kinds of places and with groups and people that like I never would have probably met on my own. And when you're like the photographer, you're allowed to go behind the scenes, like at an event or whatever it is. You're allowed to like be up close. You're allowed to like, people kind of want to come up and talk to you and like ask you about your camera or just chat with you. Yeah. You like have this like, you're not just a person at an event or in this group. You kind of have this like, I don't know, you're like let in for a day or for a couple hours or something. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So that's what I think I've always loved about photography. And I've come to like realize as time goes on, all the things that I've done and places I've gone. And like, I went to New Orleans. This is like 5 years ago. And I found this model / artist. And she like took me to this abandoned school out in the middle of somewhere of New Orleans. Like, I never would have thought to go like find this. I didn't even know. I would have never known, you know, just like things like that. That I went to Morocco with photography. I've done like so many things that photography has allowed me to do.
Just opens adventure and paths and stories.
Yeah.
When did you know you wanted to pursue motion? Because I know that that's something you've been developing more.
Yeah. Right before the pandemic, I was listening to podcasts about photography, about the industry, and everyone was kind of saying, like, if you don't know how to do motion, you're not going to make it. Oh. I was like, okay. I was kind of resistant towards it. I didn't want to do it. Then I was like, okay, let me just like try something. And then like end of 2019, I did a shoot that was like, I still took photos because I can't help myself, but I was like, this is mainly, the main focus is motion.
Okay.
And so I didn't even know what DP meant. I didn't realize DP and videographer like were different terms. I was always trying to figure out like director of photography. Yeah. My mom's just like, when we would go to the movies and that would come up on like the title, she'd be like, that's going to be you. And I was like, I don't really know what that means. Thanks, Mom. So then I like put this kind of crew together and then I fell in love with it. Like I kind of came up with some story and I was like, cool, I'm just going to focus on this. And then the pandemic hit. And then I had like little videos I took on my phone at shoots. And I just started like trying to figure out how to edit them during that time when we were in lockdown and everything canceled. Yeah. And then I got a Super 8 camera on Facebook Marketplace. And that was like easy for me to use and produce results that I was really happy with. Okay. So I just kind of got
film already.
Yeah, it was old. So then I try to like either have somebody come on, or do something small myself too. Yeah. But I want to do even more.
Tell me, where do you, if you had your magic wand?
Yeah.
Where would it be? What's Michelle making? Is she a DP or is she a director?
Ooh, I'm a director because there's a lot of technical stuff with DP.
Yes.
And I need help with that.
Shout out to our DP.
Shout out to our DP.
We love you.
So smart.
Gearheads. Yeah. We respect you.
It's crazy. There's so much lighting, lighting, cameras, everything. I just like, I ask questions and then I'm like, cool, that's not going to stay in my brain. But I would love to direct more stuff. I think I would love to do like short films.
Okay.
At least at this point, I have ideas of like, because I mentioned I like read a lot.
Yeah. And you write too.
And I write, here and there. And I've had like death in the family and stuff. So like grief is always kind of in my head. And like some of the characters that I really relate to that I read about have also experienced a lot of loss. And I just have this, I don't know, I want to create like something amongst like a friend group that revolves around grief and maybe like an aftermath of something tragic happening. I don't know. Yeah. It's like something that like visions come to me in bits when I'm like on walks, listening to music and stuff. And like write it down, save it for later someday.
So is that a practice that you implement, like these walks to kind of get ideas out or?
Okay, not always, but going back to cycles, when I'm ovulating, brain is on fire. I have all these ideas and thoughts and like, sometimes it's too much.
I definitely can relate to that.
It's like, too many thoughts, too many things. Yeah. Or like I obsess on like one specific thing. So during that time, I try to like write or go on walks or something. Yeah. And like, I was doing a lot during the pandemic, but now not so much, here and there. Although I'm trying to pick it up again.
What is another way that you are honoring your creative process and your body to find ideas?
I think learning a lot about my cycle in the last couple years. I've been like reading up about like what happens during each phase, kind of how to like take care of myself. And then like I was saying before, like when I'm close to like getting on my period, remembering that that's gonna come, and that when I am being really mean to myself, like this too shall pass. Helps a lot. That's also learning my cycle and like taking vitamins and trying to like change my eating habits has helped a lot too, because I suffered like from a depression. It would get pretty bad like right before, a week or two before my period, and I would forget, before when I wasn't on top of it, I would just be like,
feel like it's something you can't control. Or
I'm like, what happened?
Beyond you.
Everything was okay, and now I feel like I want to die or something.
And the shame that you're like putting that upon yourself.
Yes, and you're like, what's wrong with me? And now that I've learned and I'm like exercising more, doing things to like combat that, has helped me a lot with work, with life, with everything. So
would you say like it's super, for the next generation, especially women, like how important it is to it's all related. The more you understand yourself, the more it's going to inform your work, your relationships, and not just, I think when we say, a lot of people think relationships, when we say the word relationship, it automatically goes to like romantic or your partner, but no, just all relationships. Like I recently had a disagreement with my father, and then in hindsight, I was just like, oh, that was also the first day of my period. So I'm super heightened and like feel a little bit more like, all right, let's get, you want to go at it? Let's go at it. But it wasn't really.
Come at me.
The opinions are my opinions, but the way I'm delivering them is also informed by the way my body is feeling.
Right. And definitely like heightened. Like maybe on another day, you wouldn't be like, let's go, Dad.
Like, I'd be like, I'd be crying, Dad. No, but I think it's and this is a beautiful direction of our conversation, because it's that one, besides taxes and death for women, it's the one guaranteed thing we're going to go through every freaking month.
Every month. It's too often. Like, calm down.
So like, of course it would have a factor in our career, in our everyday. And I think we're just starting as a society to accept that, or partners. And I mean this like partners, like your romantic partner, like understanding that you go through this, or like with my daughter, she's 7, but she knows, like, she knows now, like, oh, is it that time you bleed? But she also recognizes like, oh, mom's grumpy or mom's tired. Is it because you're on I think this month was the first time I've heard her say, is it because you're on your period? Like now she understands it's called period. But and I laugh because I was like, I never thought we would have a whole conversation about our period, but it is important. Especially as women creatives, that
I low-key love talking about women's health and periods. Sometimes I'm like, maybe that's a job I could have.
Is there anything you wish you knew before, that someone had shared with you before you decided to go on this journey?
I wish I knew that I would spend a lot of time alone and less time than I thought taking photos. I don't know if I would have believed it at the time. Because, you're like, I'm starting this thing and I don't care what anyone says. But a lot of time, more time than I'd like alone, just like in my house on my computer, editing, emailing people, trying to figure out what to post on social media. And then, I would say 10% of the time I'm actually taking photos.
Just so true.
Yeah.
That's definitely something I've heard echo back, of just like, you're on your computer and your phone so much. And it's like, it's such a big part of it that, again, to people who don't do this as a career, they just assume we're shooting all the time.
Yeah.
But there's so much before. That's what we call pre-production.
Yeah.
And there's the post-production.
Mm-hmm.
And mostly people just think about like production, like the day of shoot, right?
And it's hard because we're creative people and like we thrive off of being creative with our teams, with our communities. And so oftentimes like that's kind of one of the most depressing parts for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I get in my head and get sad is like when I'm can't, come up with ideas with another person or it is all on me or, I'm just at home again. Like,
no, it is.
Yeah.
It is. And it's just like this feeling of we all love being on set and shooting. Like that's what we're chasing. We want that feeling, but there's so much more stuff we have to do to get to our treat.
It's that feeling that keeps us going.
Exactly.
But all the other stuff, like I know we all would have quit a long time ago.
But that's also where I think, in another conversation would be awesome to talk about all the different roles that exist within our industries, because I know right now we're focusing on us as photographers, directors, but producers and grip and gaffers and I always love to give the flowers to amazing producers, because producers are the people who know they love all that pre and post stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like and we need them. They have value also.
For sure.
And also women producers are incredible because of the way that it, innately they can nurture. And I get conflicted about multitasking, because I also know like that's our brain, our capacity of actually multitasking is really unrealistic, but women tend to be really good, multitaskers. But yeah, there's so many different roles in our industries that have value, that I'm sure there's somebody there who hates shoot day,
Yeah.
but they like to set it up.
Yeah.
And then
hand
pass
it
off,
to
anyone.
For sure. Yeah.
As we get ready to kind of wind down, is there any closing words that you would like to share? Any thoughts? If you think of like younger Michelle might be listening to this, what would you want to share?
I think what I would share to younger me or to anybody is it can get very confusing in your head about, do I make this work for a client or do I make it for me? And when you're doing like personal projects or things like that. And I think I would say to like make it for you. And usually that turns out the best. It's who you are as an artist, like coming through. And I think you feel happier with the results too. And you get that feedback also. So yeah, just I know we have to make money and we have to appeal to these other people who have the money.
Yeah.
Capitalism. Capitalism.
Yeah.
But I don't know, when you see something you really like and you're like really inspired by, I think it's like their true selves coming out. So just make stuff for you.
I absolutely agree. It's like honoring your own truth.
Yeah.
And that is the work that ends up resonating with people, because it's palpable. People can feel when someone is being authentic. That's an advice I've heard other photographers and directors have shared. Make sure you are honoring yourself.
Yeah.
Except at the end of the day, these clients are coming to you and booking you based on your portfolio,
right? Based
on your personality or based on your story. So they want you.
Yeah.
So when we let ourselves get consumed with like, what's the client want? What are they doing? The like magic kind of disappears, right?
We already have like so many voices in our head.
Yeah.
And so if you can eliminate that one or like talk it down a little bit, it helps. And anytime I've done like a portfolio review or anything, it's always the personal work that people are drawn to.
That's you.
Yeah.
That's Michelle.
Uh-huh.
Unfiltered, uncensored.
Colorful.
How would you say your mind, body, and spirit are now at this present moment?
Now I'm like all my jitters are gone. I'm like, let's keep talking for another hour.
Yeah.
Talk more about periods. Like,
And I know community is big for both of us. We've talked about it. What are some ways you recommend someone just getting started about looking for their community? What has worked for you?
Yeah. Instagram and like finding people that I like their work and reaching out has been huge. Finding other photographers, also very huge. If you want to come ask me questions, I love answering questions.
Yes.
I love when young people come and ask me questions about photography. I feel so cool and like helpful. So yeah, I'm a resource. If anybody listening to
Put
this,
it out there. She's a resource. Michelle is here to serve.
Yeah.
Answer questions, share the wisdom.
I like teaching, so if I can like help somebody get where they want to get in any way,
and I think that's been the shared thread among our friends, like our community, a circle that we want to be intentional about looking back and helping each other.
Yeah.
Go together. This idea of like climbing the ladder. Karina, shout out to Karina, our producer. One of the things we talked about is like taking that ladder and laying it down. Instead of us climbing, it's us doing the journey together.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be this ceiling we need to break through. No, it's just let's do it. Let's all walk together. And instead of gatekeeping or getting that opportunity and forgetting everybody else, like just turn around, grab each other by the hand and carry forward. So I love that you're sharing, watch out, your DMs are going to start popping up.
Good.
Like, Michelle said, she's like, it's too much.
I feel really grateful for the friendships, with your friendship, with Rebecca, with Brittany, with so many other women involved in scene. Like, just, I can literally text any of you and be like, is this enough money that I'm asking for? What should I be asking for? Like, I've heard stories from older women photographers who said like it wasn't like that it was very cutthroat. You didn't support each other.
Absolutely.
So I feel very grateful to be in this space now.
Same. I think it's and also holding each other in a way that I've had conversations with other people about like, oh, I lost that job to so-and-so and it's from the same circle and not leaning into the envy or the jealousy, but leaning into like the love and grace of like, I want to celebrate her, but also honor the feeling that I'm like, oh, I'm sad.
Yeah.
But
maybe like I am envious and jealous, but like that's just life. And like I'm also very happy for them, and
we're just not letting those emotions drive, but we're acknowledging them. It makes it so much more rewarding when you have a whole community with you,
for sure,
to like, yay, we did it, or damn, what's happening, why are we all, it's not just me,
right,
because you are right. Most of the time this career, I mean, all of us are entrepreneurs. Essentially, we're running our own businesses. A lot of us are, not everyone's represented. So we're all working for ourselves. It can be very lonely.
Yeah.
So how important it is to have these moments. Yeah,
definitely. Like this energy is going to like drive me, keep me going.
Yeah.
Like keep pushing me forward. Okay, I'm going to send those emails.
Yeah.
Like,
well, thank you so much, Michelle.
Thank you.
It has been absolutely beautiful to have you here.
Thank you. I feel really honored to be here.